My fiancé brought brownies to impress my Indian mom. It worked, until my ex showed up with a wedding invite, and my mom served her chai instead. What started as a simple family dinner turned into a culture clash, an emotional betrayal, and the biggest test of our relationship. I didn't realize the cost of silence until the woman I loved walked away from everything, including me. But what broke us wasn't just my family. It was me. And this is how I fought to win her back. So, I'm Rahul, 31, Indian American, born and raised in New Jersey, now living in San Francisco. I work in tech, love cooking, and after 2 years of dating the love of my life, Emily, I decided it was finally time to bring her home to meet the family. I dodged it long enough. My mom, Asha, had been hinting at it for months. You know, the subtle stuff like, your bones are getting old, or, what will your children call me if your wife can't make doll? Subtle. Emily's amazing. She's smart, organized to a fault, and genuinely kind. She's also very white, very American, and until now very unfamiliar with the full Desi family dinner experience. So yeah, I was a little nervous. But let me back up. Because the story doesn't really start with that dinner. It starts a year earlier at a coffee shop near our office. I spilled turmeric tea on Emily's white blouse. Yeah. First impression. I was in line ahead of her, fumbling with my stupid loyalty app. She was behind me trying to order something called a dirty oat chai, no cinnamon, extra foam. I turned too quickly with my drink and, boom, her shirt was a Jackson Pollock of yellow. I was mortified. She laughed. And that laugh is what started it all. From there, we stumbled into each other at work events, and one day she sent me a Teams message saying, "Want to grab lunch and make sure I'm wearing black this time?" We clicked. Fast. But dating someone outside your culture comes with its own learning curve. I grew up in a house where you took your shoes off, where dinner was never just a sandwich, and where you didn't talk back to elders, ever. She grew up in a family that vacationed in wine country and believed in healthy boundaries. We navigated it. With humor. With patience. And now we were here, Emily flying across the country to meet the Kumars, my family. The week before Emily met my family, she treated it like preparing for a diplomatic summit. She bought 2 new kurtas online and had me explain the difference between a salwar kameez and a lehenga. I didn't even know the difference, if I'm honest. I had to Google it on the spot. She practiced saying namaste until it sounded less like, no mistake. She binge-watched Indian food vlogs and took notes. Literal handwritten notes. I caught her one night watching a tutorial called, How Not to Offend Your Boyfriend's Indian Mom in 8 Steps. Step 1. Never say curry like it's one dish. Step 2. Accept seconds even if you're full. But it wasn't just surface-level stuff. She asked questions I didn't even expect. What should I call your parents? Should I hug them or wait for them to initiate? Is it weird if I bring dessert? Do they think brownies are too casual? I told her, just be yourself. But like, your best, most culturally sensitive self. Meanwhile, I was dealing with my own panic. I knew my mom. She wanted me to marry someone who could cook dal blindfolded and knew how to do puja on Tuesdays. Emily, on the other hand, thought incense sticks were cozy, and once asked if turmeric could go bad. Still, I believed in her. And us. The morning of the dinner, Emily called me from her hotel room just to say, "Wish me luck. I've got ghee on my fingers and a heart full of fear." She was baking brownies. From scratch. With cardamom. I told her that alone might win my mom over. When I picked her up, she looked nervous but proud. Like a student ready to present her science fair project that might also explode. She was wearing a soft green kurti, had a simple bindi, I had no idea where she got one, and held a plate of brownies like it was a peace offering to a skeptical deity. "Okay," she said as we pulled into the driveway, "do I smell like cumin? Be honest." "You smell like diplomacy and mild anxiety," I replied. We walked in together. That first moment? It went better than expected. My mom blinked, surprised. Then smiled. Then sniffed the brownies like she was testing for poison before nodding in approval. "Homemade? Very good. Welcome, Beatty." My dad offered his usual 1-second handshake and disappeared into the living room with the dog. My sister Pooja gave a tight-lipped smile, which was better than expected. And my brother Rohan declared, "Hey, white girl with brownies. We are winning." Emily laughed. Nervously. But she was trying. The dinner prep was loud and chaotic, classic Kumar household style. My mom insisted Emily sit down and relax. Emily offered to help. They compromised by having her fold napkins into peacocks, which she did terribly. Still, the vibe was warm. Until it wasn't. Started with a small thing. My aunt, Mousie, showed up unexpectedly. She lived 2 blocks away and had heard that a guest was coming. She walked in like she owned the place. No hello to me. Just a double take at Emily. So, she is the one? My aunt said loud enough for everyone. Emily smiled politely. She speaks Hindi? Mousy asked. No, I said, trying to move on. She'll learn, I'm sure, my mom added quickly. Mousy replied. Well, it's never too late to learn. Even parrots can pick up a few words. Emily chuckled. I froze. My mom shot my aunt a look. But it was enough. The vibe shifted. Emily excused herself to the bathroom, and when she returned, she was quieter. At dinner, everyone sat down, plates full, food steaming, chaos in every corner. And then came the questions. Pooja started with small talk, then slid into territory she knew would sting. So, Emily, what are your plans after marriage? Still working full-time? Yes, I love what I do, Emily replied. Even after kids? Pooja asked. We haven't really talked specifics yet, Emily said, glancing at me. But I'd like to keep working. Oh, Pooja said, stabbing her paratha. That's different. My dad cleared his throat. Then Mousy jumped in. You know, raising a child is also a full-time job. Emily smiled tight. Totally agree. Which is why it's great when both partners support each other. Mousy didn't respond. She just looked at my mom. And my mom? She said nothing. Nothing at all. Later, when we were alone doing dishes, Emily turned to me. I knew I wouldn't blend in. I just didn't expect to feel like a glitch in the matrix. I put my arm around her. You're not a glitch. You're a new code. They just need to update their system. She smiled. Weakly. But I knew. Something had cracked. And we hadn't even met Priya yet. 2 days later, we were sitting in the living room binge-watching a trashy reality show when the doorbell rang. It was Priya. My ex. The one my mom never quite unfollowed. The one who, at one point, was the blueprint for what my family thought my future would look like. She stood there, all poised and smug, holding an ivory invitation card tied with gold thread. I was just passing by, she said, and thought I'd hand-deliver this. I didn't even know she was engaged. Before I could react, my mom came rushing in like a teenager catching her favorite actor at the door. Priya. Ariwa. Come in, come in. Emily looked confused. She stood slowly and placed her teacup down like she was defusing a bomb. This is Priya, my mom said, beaming. Rahul's college friend. Priya smiled, eyes locked on Emily. And more than that, we used to be pretty close. Right, Rahul? I felt like the walls were closing in. I said, that was years ago. Emily tilted her head. You never mentioned her. Because there was nothing to mention, I said. I looked at Emily. That was the moment I should have shut everything down. Defended her. But instead I just froze. My mom and Priya disappeared into the kitchen, laughing like old roommates. Emily stood next to me, holding the untouched brownie she had just picked up. They seem close, she said quietly. They're just catching up, I said, instantly regretting how dismissive that sounded. She nodded, set the brownie down, and excused herself to the guest room. That night she didn't say much. Neither did I. I kept telling myself, it was just an awkward drop-in. Nothing more. But deep down I knew it wasn't over. And I was right. The next day Priya came back. This time with her mother. They were just in the neighborhood. Again. My mom had made chai and snacks. Her special samosas, the kind she only made on holidays. Emily wasn't even offered one. When I pulled my mom aside and asked what was going on, she said, It's just tea, Rahul. We're not picking wedding cards here. I said, You know how this looks. She shrugged. What can I do? Priya is family. Practically. I snapped, No, she's not. Emily is. My mom sighed like she was the one under stress. Emily is still new, she said. Let's see how she settles. Emily heard that. She didn't say anything then. But that night after dinner, she stood in the hallway with her suitcase half-zipped. I love you, she said. But I won't fight for a seat at a table I was invited to. I panicked. Told her my mom would come around. Told her I needed more time. Told her Priya showing up was just a coincidence. But she looked at me, and I'll never forget how steady her voice was when she said, Rahul, it's not just your mom. You didn't stand up for me. You watched me shrink in that house and didn't reach for my hand once. I begged her to stay. She kissed my cheek and said, I didn't come here to be tolerated. I came to be family. And I don't think they want that. She left. Just like that. And the house, once filled with spicy smells and loud Bollywood music, suddenly felt like an echo chamber. My mom said, If she really loved you, she would have stayed. And for the first time in my life, I answered her back without fear. No, I said. If you really loved me, you would have made her feel welcome. She didn't respond. Just turned away and started stacking the dishes. The days after Emily left were gray. Not just the sky, though it rained all week in San Francisco, but everything. My mood. My appetite. My phone, which sat face up like it was mocking me with its silence. I'd stare at our old texts and wonder when exactly I stopped being brave. The guilt? It sat heavy. Because the truth is, Emily wasn't asking for much. Just respect. A little backup. A little voice from my end when things got awkward. And I failed her. My mom, for her part, acted like nothing happened. She still cooked dinner like she was feeding a battalion. Still scrolled through her phone at night watching temple videos and WhatsApp reels. But every now and then I'd catch her hesitating by the guest room, the one Emily stayed in. She'd linger. Straighten a pillow that didn't need fixing. Check the window latch that was never broken. But we didn't talk about it. Not until a week later when my dad broke the silence. It was just the two of us. We were outside trimming the hedges when he said, "She was kind. That girl." I stopped trimming. Looked at him. "She made effort," he added. "I saw that." I nodded. "She really did." "She didn't cry when your aunt said rude things," he said. "That shows strength." And then after a pause, "I hope she comes back." It hit me like a freight train. My dad rarely offered opinions, especially unsolicited ones. But he saw it all. And he wasn't blind to how my mom handled things. Later that night I brought it up with my mom. "I miss her," I said. My mom didn't look up from her knitting. She left. She left because we didn't give her a reason to stay. She was emotional, she said. She was exhausted. There was silence. Then she whispered, "I didn't know how to welcome someone so different. But I didn't want to lose you either." And that's when I realized she wasn't the villain. She was just scared. Scared I'd drift. Scared our culture would dilute. Scared she'd become irrelevant in my future family. It didn't excuse anything. But it made it human. A few days later my dad sent me a photo. It was of my mom in the kitchen, holding a plate of brownies. He wrote, "She's practicing. Just in case." I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I called Emily. She didn't pick up. I sent a voice note instead. I should have spoken up. I let you stand alone in a room full of people who should have been family. That's on me. But I'm trying. So is my mom. She made brownies. I think they were awful. But she tried. And I wanted you to know that. No response. Until the next day. She replied. "Meet me at the park." Same bench. When I got there she was already sitting, hoodie on, sipping tea from a thermos. I sat beside her. We didn't speak for a minute. Then I said, "I was scared of making noise. But silence cost me more." She looked at me. "You didn't need to fix everything. Just show up. Just reach for my hand." "I'm reaching now," I said. Fully. Loudly. No more quiet apologies. She sighed. "I loved you, Rahul. I still do. But I need your family to love me too. Not tolerate me. Not test me. Just see me." I nodded. "Then let's start again. On our terms." 2 weeks later we did dinner again. Just the four of us, me, Emily, my mom, and my dad. No aunts. No sisters. No exes. No side-eye commentary about American habits. Just the basics. When Emily arrived, my mom opened the door, holding the same plate of brownies she had attempted the week before. This time she handed them to Emily directly. "They are still not as good as yours," she said, "but I watched 3 videos this time." Emily smiled. "Then I'll eat 3. We sat down to eat. There was dal, but it was milder. Paneer, but with instructions on the side, "Add more chili if you like." My mom had written it on a sticky note and stuck it to the serving spoon. My dad asked Emily about her job. Not out of politeness, but actual curiosity. They ended up talking about cloud security for 20 minutes. I tuned out around minute 3, but seeing them talk like that, I could have listened for hours. My mom didn't say much at first. But halfway through she did something no one expected. She spoon-fed Emily. Literally. Just picked up a spoonful of rice and bindi and said, "Open." Just for fun. Emily burst out laughing. "This is officially the most Indian welcome ever." My mom grinned. "You passed the test. Even though I never gave you the answers." Emily replied, "That's okay. I came prepared. I watched 4 videos." We laughed. That night before Emily left she hugged my mom. My mom hugged her back, tight. Later I asked her what changed. She said, she came back. After all that, she came back. That says something. We got engaged 2 months later. But we did it our way. No massive party. No 10-day celebration. We had 2 events. One at a mandir, the other in a botanical garden. My mom wore a sari to both. Emily's mom wore a salwar kameez to the second one, and cried during the vows. There were awkward moments. Mispronunciations. A distant cousin who still brought up Priya. But we let it all pass. Because it wasn't about perfection anymore. It was about choice. About Emily choosing me. About me finally choosing her in front of everyone. And about my family choosing to learn. Not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. A week after the wedding, I walked into my parents' house and saw something that made me stop. My mom had framed a photo. It was Emily, arms covered in mendi, holding a plate of brownies at our engagement party. Below it she'd written in pen, "My daughter, my baby. Best of both worlds." And that's how I knew, the knot we tied wasn't just between us. It tangled all of us together. Imperfectly. Beautifully. But permanently.